This is Dr. Quinlan with Quinlan Chiropractic Clinic from Coppell, Texas, and you're listening to the Dunham Business Radio Show.
Live from Arlington, Texas, it's the Dunham Business Radio Show. And here's your host, Lori Dunham.
I am your host, Lori Dunham, and I am so excited that you're here. Thank you so much for tuning in and plugging in with us tonight. Please ping your friends, let them know that we are here. We have an amazing guest, just like, I know I say it every time, but we do. This is an amazing guest, and this particular lady, I have known her for years, and she has always been extraordinary, and she's made an incredible impact in my life, and I can't wait for you to hear her story. So please tell your friends, come and learn all about her and get plugged in. Really a quick announcement. I'm not sure if you noticed it in the opening slides, but we have released my book from a few years ago, Start Your Own Amazon Store Without Getting Hurt. We've actually released that as a digital download now. So if you know of a nonprofit organization that's trying to raise some money during this time and they're not able to actually fundraise the way that they're used to with products and goods, actually digital downloads is the safest way to fundraise. And so every book that is downloaded, the nonprofit organization of your choice will receive 20% of every sale. So just promote that link, startamazonstore.com, promote it out, let everybody know around the country, around the world, you can download it, and the money will go to the nonprofit of your choice. So hope that we can partner together and team up. Once again, I have a co-host that is super, super awesome. She was actually a guest on this show recently, and we connected so well that we've just decided to team up and make her part of the team as for co-hosting, and I couldn't be more excited. So please make welcome back to the show, Imani from Austin. Welcome back.
Thank you so much for letting me come and play with you again. This is ridiculously fun, and to say I'm excited about this guest is like the understatement of the decade. I don't know, whatever you choose. Yeah. So thank you so much for letting me be here, and especially tonight, thank you extra.
Well, I thought of you, and I was like, if anybody's going to co-host, it's got to be Imani. You guys are going to hit it off. I just know it. And I'm excited that you're here. Thank you. I guess it's your third show with me now or something like that?
I'm just basically, it's like Christmas at my house all the time now because of you. So thanks for that.
Well, I have this saying, if we're not having fun, we're doing it wrong. So we have a bunch of fun on this show. We have so much fun. And we laugh and we just carry on. And I make corny jokes. That's what I'm all about. So, and I will make a promise. I'll make a promise to you, to our guests in the past, tonight's guests, the future guests, and to my entire following. If the show ever stops being fun, I just won't do it anymore. I just will not put on a boring show. I just won't do it. And that's just not in my style and my character. So, my personality is not like that. So you never have to worry about this show going away.
I was going to say, so what I'm hearing from you is that you're going to be recording this show well into your 90s.
That's right. Well, that's what YouTube is for. So it's in perpetuity forever and ever.
Love it.
So remind everybody, Imani, what do you do down there in Austin?
Well, I help people with their brains, but not in a doctor way. So what I do is I work with folks to get their brains working optimally. A lot of the reason that I'm passionate about this is because the things we do today can help prevent dementia and Alzheimer's, all these things that, when you're in your 40s, you're like, dementia. But a lot of people don't realize it actually starts way before, 30 years before. So the habits of today matter. And one of the best things about focusing on your brain is that you'll accidentally become much happier. And that's just a wonderful side effect. And just, I'm always excited because the brain is the most powerful tool in the world.
Absolutely. 3 pounds of power.
Yes.
I love that. I'm so excited. You ready to jump in and introduce our amazing guest?
Yes, please.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, let me tell you, she is amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Emily Fisher is an international business coach and consultant. She has 17 years of experience owning, operating, and selling 3 successful businesses. Emily is a paid public speaker, an author, an online entrepreneur. She's worked with all kinds of people like Real Estate Moguls, famous hypnotists, jewelers, service businesses, and podcasters, just to name a few. She helps them to build their business and increase their revenue. She's been hired to co-host an award-winning podcast, not mine. Who else is award-winning? I want to know. And the podcast is in the United States, and she has professionally filmed content for an online business school in Baltimore. She is in Canada live tonight. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited. Please, let's just welcome her and thank her for taking her precious time to spend with us tonight. Welcome to the show, Emily Fisher.
Woo! Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you. You said something that hit home when you said the show's no longer fun, you won't do it anymore. And I feel the same way about every business that I've left or sold or walked away from. I leave when it's not fun anymore.
Awesome.
So I understand. And sometimes that happens like when you least expect it.
Right. That's exactly right. And I think it takes somebody really mature and in touch with themselves to be able to say, I'm not willing to suffer anymore. And I'm ready to move on to something new and exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the whole audience, you're being heard around the world right now. We have listeners in 10 different countries, so they're really excited you're here. Tell them a little bit more about who you are. Who is Emily Fisher, and what do you do?
Okay, what I do every single day is I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Awesome. Best job in the world.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm going to tell you how in this episode to get whatever you want, and literally all you have to do is write it down on a piece of paper. Even if you write it down quickly, like, you know how they say, like on a napkin, or like just scribble it for like 2 to 5 minutes, and it sets everything in motion. So I, at one point, never saw myself as a stay-at-home mom, but at some point it's something I wanted. So I wrote it down, and then now I have 3 kids. And that's what I do all day long. And then I kind of just fit my business in 15 minutes here and 5 minutes here, 30 minutes there, with no set schedule. And it seems to be working. I've been doing this now for 3 years, I think.
That's
like the stay-at-home
amazing.
mom thing.
That's amazing. And, I follow you on Facebook, and I love your kids. I've never met them, but I could just hug them every single time I see them. They're just adorable. And I think some people would say, well, marketers use their kids as bait, but you're out there just living life, being genuine, and people are attracted to your kids. They're just adorable. And you've never pitched your business using your kids. And so I want to commend you on that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, no, that is true. Yeah, I guess I've never even thought about doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, you're right, because they say, what is it? Babies and animals sell?
Yep.
Yeah, so you could really set up quite a campaign.
The babies and puppies are like magnets to people, especially if they're in not just a picture, but if they're moving or if they're doing something silly or whatever. And some people will just post it because it's funny, but other people post it specifically to get your attention, and then they go, ha, now I got you, here's what I do. And that's like, let me throw up on you. That's like grabbing a baby, bouncing it up and down and going, hey, you know, I mean.
But if it works.
Well, I guess, but you want satisfied people. You want them to come to you for a purpose, not to be dragged in and then, you know, I don't know.
But how many times are you dragged in though by,
I'm sucked in by the ads, but I don't always buy.
Oh,
yeah.
I buy a lot. They get me a lot.
Imani, are you sucked in? When you're on Facebook scrolling the news feed, do you get sucked in? And do you buy from marketing like that?
I literally only go on Facebook and Instagram to see cute babies, puppies, and like nice scenery. So no, I don't buy anything because they don't sell any of those things on Facebook. People are not selling their babies, their puppies, or their scenery. So.
Well, you know what I've decided, ladies? I want to go to my gallery in my phone to look for scenery and puppies and children. So that means I've got to live a whole lot of life and go a whole lot of places. So then I can get sucked into my own life, buy my own product.
That is true, because how often are we just sitting on our phones, right? I think, you know what? I heard something that the average person spends like 8 hours a day just on their cell phone.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You know, there's apps out there now that will actually, you install it and it tells you not only how long you, like every time you pick up the phone, it understands that you've picked it up, right? And then not only that you've picked it up, but what app were you on and what time and how long is that app open in the background? How long was it background and then activated, you know? So I may have Facebook, you know, in the background, but how many times did I hit Facebook to check messages? How many times did I do Messenger to see who's done, you know, a message to me? And how many times did I look at my text message? How many times did I get a phone call? Search the web. I mean, it just calculates everything. And on one hand, I think it's good because you can see the productivity if you really want to track productivity. But on the other hand, it's kind of spooky that they know what you're doing, you know. And of course, all that data is on your phone. It's not out in the cloud and all that stuff. But it is kind of spooky to think somebody thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. My iPhone does that just on its own. So if I scroll back, it will say everything I did that day.
Wow.
Yeah. From how much time to which app. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm an Android user and I have to still manually write down, you know, my blocks of time. And what's interesting, I will say this, a guest that we had just recently was on talking about monitoring your time. And the purpose of it was not to beat yourself up because you're not getting stuff done, but to kind of have a benchmark, because every 90 days we become a new version of ourselves. Did you know that?
I downloaded this app the other day and I heard something on it say that your cells regenerate after. So it's funny that you said that.
That's exactly what he said. Yeah. Every 90 days, we have different skin than we had 90 days ago. We have different thought processes. Our weight is different. You know, like if we ate a bag of Cheetos 90 days ago, that fat actually shows up 90 days later. I'm like, no wonder.
We all need treats.
We all need bags of Cheetos, but just not in one sitting. I'm totally kidding. I don't do that anymore.
Apple pie.
So, you know, Imani is like the brain expert, so she can probably validate that you become a new version of yourself every 90 days, just based on the activity you did 90 days ago. So even 91 days is actually the second day. 93 days is the third day, right? Something like that.
So I actually heard that you get brand new cells throughout your whole body every 7 years. But the 90 days thing sounds way cooler. So yeah, that's it. And, you know, honestly, I have to tell you, as somebody who's like done a huge lifestyle change, at that 90-day mark, it's easy, right? Like the first month is like, oh my God, where's the sugar? I just need it. Just put it in here. And then, you know, by like day 5, you're okay.
Yeah.
But at 90 days, definitely there's a total new mindset with habits, right? Because they usually say it's like 21 days to break a habit.
That's right.
But by 30 days, you've established a new habit, like eating healthy or not smoking cigarettes. So 3 of those has to be really good for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
30 is 90.
That's right. That's right. So, so Emily, let's talk more about you. I mean, you are, you're our guest, and we want to know more about Emily Fisher. Tell us more about your story.
Oh, okay. Where do you want me to start? Or should I just start wherever
Wherever
think?
wherever you're comfortable.
Okay. Because I feel like since I started my business, I'm a totally different person. Probably more so in the last 7 years, I would have seen like the biggest change. I'll just go back to high school, I guess, because that would have been like almost the start of where I started like my first real business.
What, 5 years, 6 years ago?
17, wasn't it? I think. I'm 37.
Oh gosh. Oh, that was about 3 years ago then. Yeah.
So I was shy. I used to wear like Disney. Not that there's anything wrong with Disney, but I had like a Tigger sweatshirt. I cried a lot. I was like totally different person. Very bad anxiety, just very shy, I think. And then I went on and I became Princess New Minus because, as soon as high school ended, I thought, what am I going to do? I had absolutely no idea. So my mom said, why don't you take the landscaping program? And I always wanted to own my own business. So I thought, well, I can start a landscaping business. So I'm at landscaping school. It's just a year-long program. And I couldn't even get up in front of my fellow classmates and talk. And I had to go sit down because I was too shy. So I think the best way to get over fear is just to throw yourself into it. So I ran a few weeks later for Princess New Minus, which was public speaking in front of hundreds of people, just speeches and dresses and interviews and TV interviews. And like the thing that was totally outside my comfort zone, because like weeks before that, I couldn't even stand up in front of, I think it was maybe 12 people. So I was like, this is ridiculous. I have to do something about this. So I just like threw myself into the thing. And public speaking, I think they say it's like the number 1 biggest fear, or it's pretty close second for dying, like the 2 biggest fears. So now looking back, it's like, oh, that was easy, but it wasn't easy at the time because I remember crying, giving silly answers, thinking for years later, oh my God, this is on TV. Like, it's because who knows what I even said. I haven't even watched it. But anyway, I went on and I started my landscaping business, and it ended up running for 11 years and I sold it. I thought that's what I would do for the rest of my life. I loved it. I couldn't wait to get up in the morning. I couldn't wait to go to work. Like I just loved it. I would work all the time. It didn't even ever feel like work. And then I had my first daughter, and then it felt like work to go to work.
Yeah.
I was like, and I tell people that are close to me, like at the point when you're like, I don't even care if my tool shed, like if it blows up, I don't really care. I'm just done. I'm moving on. So I think around year 7 of the landscaping business, I kind of started to feel like maybe something's missing. So it took me 2 more years, I think, to realize when I was 17, I wrote down what I wanted 10 years from that day. And I accomplished it in 5 years, everything I wrote down. So you can accomplish a lot in a very short amount of time. And then what happened is after I had accomplished those goals, I really didn't have any new goals, but I didn't realize, like, I was still going on. I liked work, but something felt like it was missing because there were no big goals. So, but it took 2 years to figure this out. And then I read a book called The E-Myth, and in it, he said, what do you want the people at your funeral to say? Like, what kind of a person were you? Whose lives did you influence? And then I remembered when I was 17, the teacher that made us write down where we wanted to be in 10 years. And then I was like, a huge light bulb went off. I haven't done this in 2 years. Like, I haven't sat down. I don't have goals anymore. So I sat down and I had business goals, but I didn't have like travel goals or anything, which I think you need a little bit of everything to live a fulfilled life. So I sat down and did it again. And what I wrote down was, I'm going to be an international speaker and author and all these things. I just really let myself just like daydream and write it down. And it seemed like it was totally unaccomplishable. Like, I'm owning a landscaping business, and I lived in my grandfather's basement at the time. Now, and then throughout this, I was a single mom. I became a single mom with an 18-month-old. And so, like, how was all this going to happen? But I think you just have to write it down, and then you planted the seed. And then, like you said earlier, then it just happens. And a lot of people who are planners don't understand how things just happen. But I think it's a different way of thinking. You just have to just know it's going to happen. You don't need to know how. And then you just take the next step forward. And then it just all starts falling into place. And then now I've accomplished everything I wrote down again. So I'm an advocate for writing down what you want. It's so easy, but most people they'll actually, to tell the truth, they'll never do it because it's hard just to get yourself to go sit down and write down and daydream and take 20 minutes. Because a lot of people are just busy, fast, and it's scary too, because when you think you're going to do the same job for 20 or 30 years and you sit down and you say, oh, I'm going to do this and this and this. And sometimes you want to shut it down because it's way out in left field. That's why I always say not to tell anybody about it, because most people say, you can't do that. That's crazy. So that's why you don't share a lot of your goals. With just like, and like when you have a big goal, when you're a beginner at learning this goal thing, you want to go share it with everyone. And it's not the right thing or the thing to do because most people won't understand. And they'll start telling you every reason why it won't work. So then I find sometimes it can get lonely, but the internet's good for this because you can find a lot of like-minded people on the internet that you might not have been able to find like in your own town or your own state or province. But now there's people, like you've said, you're in 10 different countries. Yeah, so the internet's a cool tool to find your people, right?
Yeah. It brings the community closer. When you're first learning how to daydream, right? Well, when we're kids, we daydream. We do make believe. We play and dance, and we do all those things. As an adult, of course, we're conditioned to say, "Don't do that. Don't dream. Don't visualize. Just go to work, pay your bills, and go home and have a family and die." You know, I mean, that's kind of the condition, the human condition, I guess. But when you want to break out of that mold, like you're Truman, and you realize, oh man, I've been living in a bubble. I can get out of this thing. You know, it's time to wake up. It's time to do something different. When you start to visualize and you actually embrace this concept, you mentioned that people will want to go around and tell everybody about it. And I'm wondering the motivation behind that. Do you think it's either it's that they're looking for validation that what they're dreaming about isn't crazy? Or do you think it's ego and pride of, look what I'm going to do one day? Or do you think it's something else?
No, I think it is like when you first figure it out, I think it's just pure excitement, because do you remember Blockbuster?
Yes.
So when Blockbuster was around, I had this crazy idea that you could go over, this was a long time ago, and scan the movie under a thing, and then it would show the preview to you, because you know how you went in, they had the previews on the screens, but what if you didn't want to read the back of a movie that's 5 years old and you just scan it? So like that was like, oh my, this is the best idea.
Yeah, like it would be like a QR code on the back of the video.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm gonna call the owner and I'm gonna do this, and like my mom was always like, that's such a good idea, and I'd go home and I'd tell my dad, and I was telling my friends, and everyone was like, they'll never do that, you'll never get a hold of the owner. And like I tried, and then I don't want to blame it on anyone else, but I gave up because I really think there were too many voices saying, don't, no. And then I first try, second try, third try, wrote letters, couldn't get, like, if I was persistent and didn't give up, who knows, right? What could have happened. So now when you first figure this out, you really are that enthusiastic that you just want to make it work. Yeah, like when you first have an idea. But then when you're wiser, then you know you have to keep it to yourself. But I love that you said ego driven, because I have an ego. I think I think
we all have an ego. I mean.
But sometimes I'll post something, I'm like, look at me and what I'm selling. And usually I don't sell any of those.
That's right. You don't sell any of it. None of it. So, I thought you were saying something.
No, I was...
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, it is true. Like, when you come on, you're like, look at me. But sometimes you need a little ego, because you just have to, I think you said this earlier too, you just have to figure yourself out and know, and like keep yourself aligned, I guess. That's been coming up a lot for me lately, alignment. And even just looking in the mirror a couple times a day and like adjusting your shoulders and lifting them up and breathing, even if it's just 3 breaths, because I think you knew, but I hurt my shoulder.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to ask how you were. Yeah.
I fainted twice. So I was totally out of alignment, just burnt out, just working too hard, trying to get there too fast, I guess, trying to do too much. And so lately, like the last couple of weeks, I've really been thinking about that in my own life. And then I've been thinking, how am I going to share that with other people? Because that's just a simple shift, right? Yeah. Just when you go to the bathroom, just look in the mirror, because we're all out of alignment. Like it happens like every hour you're getting out of alignment. Yeah. Just even like if you in the way that you hold your body, or if you look in a mirror, you tend to, like, if I make a snarly face sometimes. So I'm like, so your face just naturally, do you know what I mean?
I do.
Like It's up more on, and like we're all out of alignment. So I think it's just being very aware of your own habits and just putting yourself back in alignment. So that was just a little tip.
No, I love that. I love that, because there's times on the show when I go back and I watch the show, I'll see my mouth is crooked, and I'll remember that I had a headache or neck pain or back pain when I see that. And when my mouth is not crooked. Now everybody's going to be watching my mouth every time I should.
No.
But I want to go back, Emily, to something you said that I think is very important, and I want to give you props for it, because you said, I don't want to blame anybody. I gave up. And that is so powerful, because when you can really take ownership of your success or your delay or your failure or any part of it, you're already 10 steps ahead of where you would have been if you started blaming everything else. So congratulations on that. That's amazing.
Thank you. I took a course probably like 7 or 8 years ago, and it was called, I forget what the course was called, but we got a free book with it, and it was called Reframe Your Blame. Ooh. And I think that's when I really started figuring out, like, maybe I'm to blame for some of the things, or most of the things, or all of the things that aren't, because if you do really truly believe that you create your own reality, you're creating everything from just everything, even the crazy things that are coming into your life. Yeah.
You want to, hey, you know what? You want to create it, you get to create it all. You don't just get to create on Tuesday. You know, you get to create everything. So absolutely. Imani, what are you thinking about taking ownership and applying that to being the new version of yourself?
I just got to say, I love that your mom was the one who always was like, you're going to do it. It's great. Because that is literally mom. And that they're your number one fan, and they're the person that launched you, right? And so back to responsibility, usually whenever people are starting to have their like enlightenment, or as the kids say it, they're becoming woke, that's like the first step, is taking full responsibility for yourself, like owning all of it. So one of the big things is you don't get to say, you made me feel, ever again. And so, yes, taking ownership is huge. And I love how you put that, Emily. I loved it.
Cool.
That's amazing. See, it's stuff like this. Emily says this kind of stuff, and it's like fireworks, just boom, 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 boom. I mean, even, not just on the show, but even in just knowing her, following her, and spending time working with her. I mean, it's always, it makes my brain just fire on all cylinders, it's just lights me up. So
cool. Good.
I'm telling you, she's completely changed my life, and I'm just a super fan of Emily Fisher. So what I want to do right now, if it's okay with you guys, I want to give our sponsors an opportunity to say hi to everybody. And when we come back, I want to talk about how you can work with Emily. Also, I want to talk about, and maybe Emily can guide us through writing down our desires, our dreams, what we want to do. We're going to go through that little exercise because it really does work. And Imani's got her pen and paper ready to go. So I'm going to go grab my pen and paper during the break, and I'm really looking forward to it. So in the meantime, get your friends, tell them to join us, and come do this exercise with us. And if you've got questions for Emily, you want her to answer something, drop all your comments in the box, and we'll try to get to them by the end of the show. But we're going to go take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this.
This is Jessica Anderson with Faith Forward Nurse Aid Training Academy, and you are listening to Dunham Business Radio.
Hey everybody, we are back. Thank you so much for staying tuned in and connecting your friends with us. You're listening to the Dunham Business Radio Show, and I am your host, Lori Dunham. Thank you again. We are talking with a superstar. She is an amazing businesswoman, entrepreneur, coach, speaker, and all around a very funny lady. And I'm absolutely enjoying my conversation with her. Amani, are you having a good time?
Yeah, that's an understatement.
Tell me something
excited.
you picked up from Emily's conversation.
Well, I think the very best thing is to write down your dreams and to write down what you want. And actually, this is what I inferred, take time to daydream. Like actually take time to imagine what you want. We spend so much time saying, I don't want this to happen. I don't want this to happen, instead of focusing on what we actually want. So you're putting all that energy and you're wasting it. And Emily's just here to say, stop that. Write it down.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
I love what you said. Okay. When that's a huge thing is if you don't know what you want, I bet you know what you don't want, right?
Right.
So if you're new to writing things down, that's the number one secret I'll tell you is write down first what you don't want and then flip it. Okay. So I can't write down what I don't want, because when I write down what I don't want, I also get it. Yeah. I'm not even joking.
Right. No, I think it goes right back to the law of attraction. You know, you get what you write down, you are what you think about. All of that.
It is. Yeah. So I encourage, I think I told you this, Lori, when they said, I think they told us that when we did the click funnels, day one, it's like write down what you don't want. And I said, I'm not even doing that exercise because I'm going to tell you a funny story. I took this when I was back, like, I don't know, it was probably like 6 years ago. I had this dating coach. So I did these sessions with her and she told me, write down everything you don't want and everything you want. And I totally, like, a year later, I was like, this relationship's like the worst relationship. It's unbelievable. And I was flipping through this book at home. This is my office now, but it used to be my apartment. When I lived with my grandfather. This is the basement, but in the next room, I was alone here one day, and I was flipping through this journal, and I found this piece of paper of everything I don't want. And I'm like, that's this guy. I like ripped it apart. And I'm like, that's when I really started knowing, like, it's true. You get what you think about and what you write down. So you can't think negative or bad, and you can't think positive 100% of the time. It's not even possible.
Right.
Right. So I took this course recently, and she said something that stuck with me. And she said, if you can think positive just 50% of the time and just get in the act of just 50% of the time, eating good, just exercise 50% of the time and not be so hard on yourself, it will just start to become like a second nature and it won't be so hard.
So you know where my analytical, logical brain just went just now when you said that 50% of the time? I was like, okay, 12 hours I can be happy, 12 hours I can be pissed off. Every day.
You don't seem like someone that gets pissed off.
Aw, thank you. I gotta tell you, and I'll tell the whole wide world and anybody who knows me, I'm a recovering control freak. So I used to be a monster. I have no idea how I had any friends. I attracted those people to me that just put up with me, tolerated me. And I treated people so badly. And if they're listening, I don't even know if they even think about me, but if they happen to be listening, I deeply apologize. I make an amends to you right now. From the bottom of my heart, I was a real jerk. And so I'm a different person now, and I have people like Imani and Emily to keep me in check.
Yes. You know what, Lori, though? Sometimes I think you're hard on yourself. So sometimes we think, because I pin you as sometimes you're just a very nice girl. And sometimes nice girls think that they were mean when they weren't mean.
Well, thank you for that. I am
You're
a
welcome.
nice girl.
Yeah, I think the mean girls never think they're mean. Like, they're never like, I'm so mean. They're just being mean all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the defining thing, right? Because like you just said it, mean girls don't think they're mean, and they are, and nice girls think they are, and they're not. So
maybe you weren't as...
If you think you're mean, you're not. If you don't think you are, then you are. So knock it off.
I think
We've just given the whole key to humanity. Like all of society is about to get a revelation just by listening to that one statement.
Yeah.
Emily.
I think, yeah, I it's the same thing with like people who think that they are vain, or like or what was the other one? What's the word that comes up? If you think you're a narcissist, you're probably not a narcissist. Do you know what I mean? Because the narcissist didn't think, so some people think they are, and they think, oh yeah, like like a sociopath, or like people think I'm crazy. Well, a crazy person wouldn't think they're crazy.
They
so
think they're normal. Crazy people think they're normal.
Yeah.
Normal people think they're crazy. So I guess I'm normal and nice and kind and hard on myself.
You are.
But I'm grateful for the people who have been surrounding my life in the last several years to kind of make me the new version of myself that even I can be proud of. So thank you both.
Good.
So you want to do this exercise with everybody?
Sure.
Okay,
Yes.
So everybody take 30 seconds. Go get a piece of paper, pen or pencil, crayon or marker, and let's do this together.
And do it. Actually go get the piece of paper, because a lot of people will be like, well, I'll just do it later. Yeah. And I'll just do it on my phone. Or I'll just no.
Nope.
Go get the piece of paper.
I have my notebook right here.
Okay, cool.
Ready to go. I got my it's my Walmart grocery pickup pen. See, any pen will work. So
any pen works.
Even a pencil would work technically.
Oh yes.
What did you say?
Even a pencil technically work.
That's right. Pen, pencil, marker, crayon, any of that. You can even.
Have you heard of Dr. Joe Vitale?
Yes. Amazing.
Yes. Oh, so it's funny you said pencil, because I listened to a story, and I had actually come across the story twice through videos I watched of his. And he said he was just like down and out, and he had no gratitude for anything. Oh. Everything was stupid and dark, and like he just hated life. And he said, you know what? He's in his apartment. I think he said he was married at the time to his first wife. And he was like, what? Like he couldn't even, nothing was happy or anything. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to pick up the next thing, and I'm going to find gratitude for something. So he picks up a pencil. This is what he says. And he says he still couldn't even find any gratitude for the stupid pencil. Like it just wasn't happening. And then he said he just sat there, and like going back to daydreaming, he just sat there with the pencil. And then he said it just came to him. He started wondering, like, who invented pencils? Where did this pencil come from? What could I do with this pencil? And then that's where he went from there. And I think he said that that's when he started writing down, and then that led him to writing one of his first books. And I think he said he has 27 or 47 or something, like a lot of books. It was just having gratitude in that pencil. And he said, you know, this pencil can rewrite or write what's going to happen from here on. And it doesn't have to be like it was.
That's right. You rewrite your story. I've heard about that too. You rewrite the ending to your story. And then it kind of starts. I went to a workshop once where they had you write your obituary. And it was like, you mentioned it earlier, but here lies Lori who X. Now fill it out. And you're like, I don't know, I don't know. But by writing it down, it actually became goals for me to achieve, so that tombstone is what that obituary is what I wanted. I went through in the break, I was looking for the notebook, but I couldn't find it. I think it might be in the garage or something, but it was there, and I need to go find it and see just how far I've come, because that was, oh my gosh, I want to say like 2008, 2009. So it's time for me to look back and just see how close I'm getting to an obituary.
I hope you can find that notebook, because it's funny you said that. I found a notebook up top of the garage from like 2007. And I'm a nice girl, like a recovering nice girl. And I wrote down the pros and cons of keeping an employee. And the pros were like, she shows up on time most of the time. Like I was like pulling for and then the cons were, get this, well, she stole my truck. She stole money from me. She yelled at me. Like there was the cons, and like looking at it, I was like, how did I even think this was okay? How did I even contemplate, should I keep her, or maybe it's time for her to leave? Wow. That's how I was so nice. But like, I don't know. There's a book, The Nice Girl Syndrome. I should still read it again. I would recommend it to anyone, male or female. But there's like 10 different nice girl things that show up. But I'd like to see, or I'd want to know what your journal's like, Lori. Okay. And I hope you find it, because it is cool to look back and see.
Yeah, I'll try to find it. And if I do, I'll let you know. I'll send you a picture or something.
Cool.
Okay, you ready to do this? I've got some music queued up, ready to go, so we can all think. So give everybody a quick instruction and how much time you need. Okay,
let's do it in just 5 minutes. Normally, I would say 15 minutes, but we'll just make it 5 minutes. I'm finding a lot of times people run out of things to say for 15 minutes. So 5 minutes really like focuses you to just get it done. So back to what we said, if you're like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to write, first write a list of 3 to 5 things you don't want. And then that's your cue to go from there. As soon as those are written down, to write the exact opposite, totally off in left field. Like if you don't want debt, you want $200,000 or whatever you want. So I always say to dream big. So what do I mean by dream big? Think about things and write down things that you don't even think you can accomplish. So like, how do I explain this? If you think of that, what I just said, you don't even think you can accomplish it. So let me give you an example. I want a 5-car garage with 5 different vehicles, so I can drive whatever vehicle whenever I feel like it, and I don't want to work hard to get it, and I just want it to be normal in my life. So the thing is that if I could even think of that, then that's a possibility that I can achieve it if I want.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Don't discard any thought that comes into your mind as thinking, oh, well, I can't do that. So basically, when your pen hits the paper, you can start out as, I want, or you know what they say to do, write it as if you already have it. And I think there's power in that too. So if you write it like as if you're in the scenario. That's how I did my first one. So I'm driving a convertible Mustang and I'm spending my winters in Florida, and all these things happened.
Okay.
And I had my first daughter at 28 or whatever. And all these things did happen, but and the last thing I'll leave you with is ignite any of your senses. What do you feel? How does the breeze feel? Are you in Italy? What smells do you smell? How fast are you driving your car? So think of those things as you are writing these things down too. You smell cinnamon buns outside your window. You can hear a seagull. Think of your senses. You can feel the sand on your feet. These are all things I want. So, but you know what I mean? Like, think of even from your bed sheets, from when I wake up in the morning in my king size bed and my air conditioning, and I hit my button and it opens my curtains for me. Like, paint a picture. These are also all things I want. I really do. I want a remote control so it just like moves the curtains.
Cool. Like from the movie The Holiday, where they see houses and she wakes up and she's boop, ooh. I love that. Love it. Okay, I think the music that I have is about 4 minutes long, so we'll just go to the end of this track, and
Sure.
Let's everybody do it. Right? So
I'm going to do it too.
And look, we don't have to share it, but if you wanted to type something in the comment box and share it with Emily, you're welcome to do that. And maybe later we'll give you the email. If you wanted to email it to Emily, maybe she'd be willing to do it. We'll ask and make sure.
That would be okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Put you on the spot and be like, yes, you're going to do it. So
I would write a little story in your 5 minutes of my life in 5 years from now. I never recommend 10. Now I only say do it
5 years from
5
now.
years.
So in the year
5 years from
2025, what is your life like? In 2025, how are you going to be living your life? All right, this is so fun. Okay, so let me find that file that should be good to go. And let's share it. Tell me if y'all can hear this, okay? Good? All right.
Yes.
All right. Y'all have fun. awesome. We didn't go a full 5 minutes, but we should be wrapping up. So I got pretty much all the way down the first page. It's pretty awesome. How's everybody doing?
Good. I just had a huge realization.
Great. I hope it's good. Share it.
Should I though? No, I would. It's really funny. I've thought of it before, but it's funny it just came up again. First, I'll let you guys. How did you guys make out? Then I'll tell you.
It was so fun to just. I started my mind with, in the year 2025, I am. Boom. As soon as I said I am, man, the flood of my dreams just went right to the paper. And I had no reservations. I completely saw myself doing everything I was putting on the paper. And I made no justifications, no excuses, no worries, no fears. It was like, man, I am living this. I am loving it. And I felt the fun and the joy and the freedom. And I was like, I'm totally doing this.
Cool. Good. How often do you journal?
Never. I'll tell you why. I used to have this ingrown fear that somebody would find my journal, and when I'm running for office or president or something where it all becomes public, they'll go, she's a really weird person, all those dark pictures and mean words, and she's threatening people. I didn't want that, so I never journaled.
It's such a good way though.
Oh, I know. So now I've started to journal, and I rip it out and rip it up and throw it away.
That's okay.
I don't want anybody to ever find it.
That's okay. But I write all those mean words still, because it's better to. I totally know what you mean though, but it's better to write it on a piece of paper than to tell somebody. Because a lot of times you just have to get rid of it yourself.
You hold it in, and it impacts not only your psyche, your emotional health, but your physical health. You know, it starts to manifest in physical ways. So
that's the way that I deal with anger, is I write the person a letter, and then I never send it. And I wanted to ask you, Emily, since writing it down is so powerful, do you think burning it, or like Lori was saying, destroying something, is also useful?
Yeah, I think it is too. Yeah, definitely. Burning it, or just don't flush it down the toilet. Because
sounds like that's from experience.
No, we just had a plumbing issue. It wasn't due to ripped up paper, but now I won't flush like anything down the toilet. But it's funny, but no, I think ripping it up does, but again, I think if you think it does, then it does what you want it to do. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, it's all about what you think.
Right?
You're right.
So if that's what makes you feel better, and that's what really locks it in for you, then that's what works for you, right?
Yeah. That's awesome.
But I think it's a good idea.
Imani, how did you start your sentence?
I'm still happily married to my wonderful husband. And I just went on to, I wrote in gratitude, like Emily said, I write in the future. It's already happened.
Yeah.
And because I'm telling the quantum field, here's what I want. And so I love it. I loved it. Yeah, that was beautiful. I loved that whole thing, Emily. Oh my goodness.
That's awesome. Emily, so what's your revelation? Is it safe to say what it was now that you know how we started our sentences?
It's so weird. I think it's weird. My revelation is because I'm a doer, and I think you're a doer too.
I am.
I'm a doer.
You're a doer. Okay, so a doer can get you.
A doer versus what? A thinker?
No, because thinking's good, but it's not always good to just be a thinker, because then you're just in your head. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, if you're not a doer, what are you? Like, If we're
Well,
doers.
what if, a doer, you have to do, right? Because that's how you're going to move things forward. But what if you do less? So this is funny. And everyone wants to do less and make more money. But when I first started not landscaping, which has taken me a long time to get rid of, I wasn't somebody that would ever get fake nails. But then I thought, well, if I'm going to invest the $80 to get fake nails, I'm not going to go out and break them 2 days later. So now I can't go out and do this because I'm not going to mess up these nails. And I know it might sound like, whatever, really girly or whatever, but it worked. It got me away from doing that. But so I wasn't doing as much, but I figured out how to make just as much money, not doing as much. But what if this is so weird. What if you were just your head? So weird. And then you can't use anything else. How would you get other people to do everything that you wanted to get done so you could be fulfilled in your life?
Thank God I have a big mouth. I'd still do the show.
So smart. I love that. My poor family, they're going to be doing everything for me now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Emily, thank you so much for walking us through that exercise. I think you're impacting lives you don't even know yet. And it's going to be just outstanding. And I know you have a package that you walk people through, a process that you walk people through. Would you like to talk just briefly about that and how people can work with you?
Sure. So my business is Sweet Success and Happiness Business Consulting. So more confidence and clarity in your life and business so you can make more cash. That's my number one goal, is for people to make more money. I like people to make more money, and the people I work with to make more money making wiser decisions so they work less. So I promote everyone to take care of themselves first and put their business dead last, which isn't easy to do at first. I have a program called More Money, Less Stress. It's a 5-day program. And mainly right now, just for that program, or I do one-on-one coaching as well.
And so how can people reach you?
Through Facebook. My business page is Emily Fisher, or personal, Emily Fisher. I can be reached at emilylynnfisher.com or emilylynnfisher@gmail.com.
Awesome. So super simple. Emily Fisher, Emily Lynn Fisher. Just look her up. She'll take your friend requests. She'll do instant messaging. She does videos. She's just amazing lady. I really can't thank you enough for being here tonight, changing lives, even in just this brief moment of time. I know you impact my life every time I encounter you. Not just talk to you, but every time I encounter you, you change my life. So,
Cool.
it just really, I know you were put in my life for a reason, and all I want to do is give back and take what you give me and give out. So be a conduit for all the good that you give out. So thank you for that. Truly mean that.
Thank you. Thank you
Emily,
for having me.
You are the light. You are such a light. Thank you for shining so bright.
Thank you. It was really nice to meet you. You have to add me as a friend.
Please.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And real quick, Imani, I want to give you a chance if folks want to work with you to get their brain to the next better version. How do they reach you?
You can find me at powerfulbraincoaching.com.
Awesome. That's such great, powerful words. And, we're here on Dunham Business Radio making a difference. That's what we do. So I want to thank you both for being here. It's meant so much to me that you said yes and you spent your time with me. And to the audience, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for doing this exercise. Please, if you didn't do it, rewind this video and go back and do it. It's only about 3.5 minutes is all we did. But keep it going and do it. And it will change your life. It will. And thank you for being here. Your support is immensely special to me. And I can't do this without you. And I won't do it without you. So please continue to stay plugged in. Share this video. Let people know we're here. If you want to be a guest on the show, just send us your picture, your bio, and your personal cell phone number to DunhamBusinessRadio@gmail.com, and we'll get you scheduled in, and look forward to hearing from you. So until next time, everybody, stay on top of the world. Thanks so much.
Thanks for listening to the Dunham Business Radio Show. Be sure to follow us at Dunham Business Radio and check out DunhamBusinessRadio.com for more info.
I'm on top of the world, now I'm living, and the good just gets better, keeps on giving. Not even close to the end, it's just beginning.